You know, before I watched Mr. Mento's review of this episode that he claimed that it's an anime atrocity, I found this one of the best episodes that this show has to offer. But after watching his review, I have mixed opinions. I know I can't have my opinions changed because someone else's opinions, but Mr. Ento is a very great critic. So, watching this episode again, especially the ending, you know, I can understand everything can't be perfect, but it has to be perfect in this episode. Princess Twilight gets an idea to sell her journal of friendship to everyone in Equestria, to show everything that what happened in the past between her and her friends. However, even if it turned into a success, it got worse with the other characters. The fans really want to know everything about them, especially that they think they're supposed to be perfect. I'm not kidding. This entire episode is where the fan base really thinks that the other characters should be really perfect. For instance, Whaley ran home because she was upset that people were making fun of her for completely doing bad decisions on fashion. I'm not sure if that really happened, but that's what Whaley did in this episode when she completely ran home. Especially that she gets really psychotic. And I really feel bad for Fluttershy, especially that she's scared out of everyone who keeps talking about her and getting close to her. Things get even more and more worse when Twilight meets the other characters. Sweet Apple Acres, for example, things get really tedious for Applejack, since people want to be part of the Apple family. Yeah, a very huge family that doesn't need so many numbers. A lesson to why families need to have some short numbers. If I was in this situation, I would just probably quit this family. I know it's kind of dark, but at the same time, this crisis is just too much. Especially that the other characters are turning against each other, all because of the criticism from everyone. Yeah, Fluttershy was being very serious. More serious than the other episodes she appeared in this season. This episode tries way too hard to be very perfect, but at the same time, not completely. I know that's what they're trying to do, but at the end of this episode, after everything they have been through, they should have made it completely perfect. Now, to get this out of the way, the Flawless song is a very great song. But even with that song, it doesn't save everything. Seriously, the fans still argue. Now, let's get back to the beginning of this episode, because Twilight meets two Foleys who haven't been getting along recently, and they appear at the end of this episode. There were the reasons why Twilight made that journal, and even though that they are all respectful to the other characters, it still doesn't make up the fact that the episode ends when the characters completely hug each other and they're okay with their mistakes. Yeah, they completely let the raging crowd out there, and the episode ends with no resolution. You know, when I first watched this episode, I was okay with it, even though I had this major problem. But after watching Mr. Mentor's review, this episode, it's in the middle bar of being great, but also really bad. The ending is just forced. Too forced. The thing is, just because everything can't be perfect, that doesn't mean it can excuse itself for this kind of situation. Twilight Sparkle, while making the journal was a bad idea, she at least knew what she was doing when she completely sold the journals to everyone. She didn't expect this to happen whatsoever. I know the unexpected can't be the unexpected. But the thing is, Twilight Sparkle just wants to show off and her friends her past. That's all she ever wanted to do. And watching them fail, even with a flawless song, is just really getting done to death. No, seriously. If I had the time to do this, I would probably do a rewrite in an alternative universe fanfic if the fans actually agree with Twilight's statement. By the way, I did love the Twilight's Wayne comment in this episode, but at the same time, it's still forced. I mean, I don't have a problem with Twilight being princess because Equestria Girls is a different story. But here, I just think that it's just basically mediocre at best, since that Equestria Girls isn't a problem in the show in general. Here's my opinions on this episode. It's in the mix of good and bad. I'm gonna give this episode 2 ratings because looking at this, it's just very hard to take it seriously, especially that I won't be able to see this episode again because it just confuses me. I mean, I do like the message it's trying to come across, but at the same time, not being too perfect, it gets way too far. Here's my 2 ratings for this, and I'm going to talk about them individually. The bad rating will be a 4 out of 10. It could have been a very good episode, but at the same time, it's just too forced. Now, as for the good rating, a 7.5. It could have been much more higher, but if the ending would have been changed, it would probably be really higher. I really got nothing else to say about this episode. If Mr. Mental didn't make a review of it, I would probably have this episode really high on my list. And it also explains why Mr. Mental doesn't review MLP episodes anymore, and I will feel bad for him, but then again, it's his choice and his feelings towards the show.